In the winter of 1982, Britain recorded some of the coldest temperatures in its history, cold enough to stop the country in its tracks. Schools closed, power failed, and familiar streets turned into frozen landscapes that felt almost unreal. Yet for many who lived through it, this wasn't just a disaster, but a strange mixture of hardship, community, and unforgettable moments. A winter that terrified adults and enchanted children, all at the same time. If you want to see more stories like this, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel, because once you revisit the winter of 1982, you begin to understand why Britain never quite forgot it. 1. The cold that arrived without warning. At the end of 1981, nothing felt unusual. Christmas had passed. Life returned to normal. You didn't expect history to arrive with the weather forecast. Then, quietly at first, the temperature began to fall. Arctic air pushed down from the north. Night after night, colder than the last. By early January 1982, you woke up to a cold Britain simply wasn't prepared for. There was no dramatic announcement, no single moment. Just the slow realization that something was wrong and getting worse. And this was only the beginning. 2. When Britain turned white. Overnight. Then the snow came, and it didn't stop. Overnight, streets you walked every day disappeared beneath thick, drifting snow. Cars were abandoned where they stalled. Front doors opened onto a landscape that felt foreign, almost unreal. In town centres and villages alike, Britain woke up to silence, the kind that only comes when everything is frozen still. What had been familiar the night before was unrecognizable by morning. It felt sudden, overwhelming, and it was about to reveal just how fragile everyday life really was. 3. Temperatures that Britain was never built for. And then came the numbers that people would remember for decades. In January 1982, temperatures plunged to levels unseen in living memory. Braemar in Scotland dropped to minus 27.2 degrees Celsius, matching the UK's all-time record, first set back in 1895. England wasn't far behind. On January 10th, Newport in Shropshire recorded minus 26.1 degrees, the coldest temperature ever officially recorded in England. Pipes burst, rivers froze solid, even the sea along parts of the coast began to ice over. Britain had never been built for cold like this. And soon, the systems holding the country together began to fail. 4. Roads, railways, and a country cut in half. Movement became impossible. Motorways closed, trains stopped running. Buses sat frozen in place, engines silent beneath layers of snow. Entire communities were cut off, sometimes for days, sometimes for weeks. In rural areas, snowdrifts rose higher than cars. Emergency services struggled to reach those who needed help. What normally took minutes now took hours, or couldn't be done at all. Britain wasn't just cold, it was divided. And as travel collapsed, another crisis began inside people's homes. 5. Power cuts and homes going dark. Then the lights went out. Power cuts rolled across the country as demand surged and infrastructure failed. Heating systems stopped. Electric fires went cold. In many houses, darkness fell early and stayed. You learned quickly how quiet a home could feel without electricity. How long the nights became when all you had were candles and blankets. The cold crept in through walls, floors, and windows, turning ordinary houses into places of endurance. And as families retreated indoors, survival became deeply personal. 6. Life indoors. How families tried to stay warm. Inside the house, the cold didn't stop at the door. You wore coats indoors, jumpers over jumpers, socks layered until you could barely feel the floor beneath your feet. Families slept in the same room, sometimes the same bed, just to share body heat. Candles flickered. Old gas fires were lit again. Kettles boiled constantly, not for tea, but for warmth. You learned where the drafts were, which rooms were bearable, which weren't. Home became a shelter, and the struggle to stay warm reshaped daily life in quiet, intimate ways. But warmth alone wasn't enough. You still had to eat. 7. Food, shopping, and daily survival. Shopping became uncertain. Delivery lorries couldn't get through. Shelves emptied quickly. Bread, milk, and basics vanished first. You queued when shops were open, unsure what would still be there when you reached the front. Meals were planned around what you could find, not what you wanted. Neighbors shared food, families rationed carefully, stretching tins and packets across long, cold days. Survival wasn't dramatic, it was repetitive, cautious, and exhausting. Yet amid all of this, there was one group for whom the winter felt strangely magical. 8. Children in the snow, joy in the middle of chaos. For children, this was a different winter entirely. Schools closed for days, sometimes weeks. Streets turned into playgrounds. Sledges appeared from nowhere. Dustbin lids became makeshift toboggans. You remember the laughter, the red faces, the thrill of doing something forbidden, sliding down icy roads where cars no longer came. To adults, it was disruption and danger. To children, it was freedom. Those memories stayed bright long after the cold faded, but not everyone experienced the winter with joy. 9. The elderly and vulnerable, the hidden cost. For the elderly, the cold was relentless. Unheated homes became dangerous. Isolation deepened as roads closed and visits stopped. Hypothermia crept in quietly, often unnoticed until it was too late. Behind the headlines and snowfall photographs, people were struggling, and some didn't survive. The winter of 1982 carried a human cost that wasn't always visible at the time, and as the most vulnerable suffered behind closed doors, the strain began to show elsewhere too, inside Britain's hospitals. 10. Hospitals under pressure. Hospitals felt the winter immediately. Accident and emergency departments filled with broken bones from icy falls, cases of hypothermia, and complications made worse by the cold. Staff struggled to get to work. Ambulances moved slowly, if at all. Resources were stretched thin. Every delay mattered. Every decision felt heavier in freezing conditions. The winter wasn't just testing homes and roads anymore. It was testing the systems meant to protect people. And beyond the towns and cities, another quiet crisis was unfolding in the countryside. 11. Farming, animals, and the rural struggle. Out in the countryside, the winter was brutal in a different way. In places like Shropshire, Powys, and rural Wales, snowdrifts blocked lanes for days, sometimes weeks. Farmers struggled to reach livestock as temperatures stayed well below freezing through January 1982. Sheep froze where they stood. Cattle collapsed from cold and hunger when feed deliveries failed to arrive. In upland areas of Wales, losses ran into the thousands of animals, wiping out years of work in a single winter. Frozen pipes meant no water. Tractors wouldn't start. Isolation wasn't just inconvenient, it was devastating. And while farms suffered in silence, something else began to appear, slowly, in towns and villages across Britain. 12. Communities helping communities. When systems failed, people stepped in. Neighbours checked on neighbours. In towns across England, Scotland, and Wales, people shared heaters, food, and firewood. Volunteers helped clear paths through snow. Elderly residents were visited daily, sometimes by strangers, just to make sure they were still warm and alive. Community halls became warming centres. Tea was poured endlessly. Conversation stretched late into the night as people waited for the cold to ease. In the harshest conditions Britain had seen in generations, kindness became a form of survival. And eventually, after weeks of endurance, the temperature finally began to rise. Notin, the slow thaw, and what was left behind. The thaw came slowly. As January turned to February 1982, ice loosened its grip. Snow melted into slush, then into floods. Roads reopened. Trains began running again. Life didn't return all at once. It crept back, cautiously. The damage was everywhere. Burst pipes flooded homes. Roads cracked under sudden change. Local councils faced repair bills running into millions of pounds. In some areas, it took months for infrastructure to fully recover. Britain had survived the freeze, but it had been changed by it. 14. Why 1982 still lives in Britain's memory. Decades later, people still remember exactly where they were. They remember sleeping in coats, carrying kettles from room to room, listening to the silence of snow-covered streets. For older generations, 1982 wasn't just cold, it was a test of endurance. For younger viewers, it's a glimpse into a Britain that feels almost unrecognizable today. A reminder that modern life, for all its comforts, can still be fragile. And that's why Britain's coldest winter ever recorded isn't just a chapter in history. It's a memory the country never truly let go of. Britain's coldest winter ever recorded was more than a season of snow and ice. It was a moment when an entire nation was forced to slow down, endure, and rely on one another in ways that are hard to imagine today. From frozen roads and darkened homes to small acts of kindness that kept communities going, the winter of 1982 remains etched into Britain's collective memory as a test of resilience and quiet strength. If this story stirred something familiar, click to watch our next film exploring another real moment of British history that shaped everyday life across the UK. And if you enjoyed this journey into the past, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share your own memories or thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you again in the next story.